This is question 3 of the 2023 Junior Cert Higher Level Maths. As always, if you want to copy the notes I'm working off, just send an email to shanetry@gmail.com and like and subscribe to get access to more playlists. So question 3 here starts off with what looks like area volume. And it says the students in a transition year mini company make and sell candles. They buy a solid rectangular block of wax measuring 35 centimeters by 45 centimeters by 16 centimeters. Now, they don't give you the dimensions on the shape they provide here, but it doesn't really matter. Now, it says work out the volume of the block of wax. So whenever I see area volume, I'm just going to go straight to the maths tables and look up any formulas. And if I find this shape, I should find this formula. The volume is equal to, now, actually, I'll go to the answer. Length times width times height. And then I'm going to assume the length is 35. So maybe this is 35. The width is 45. Okay, and then the height is 16. It doesn't matter if I swap them around, it'll be the same thing. Now it says in the question by, which kind of means multiply. So even if you were trying just to give something a go here, and you went 35 by 45, like if I'd say 2 by 3 is 6. Now it might be an older way of saying things, but it just means multiply, or usually means multiply. So once I realized that fact, and I multiply all three numbers together, I ended up with a number of 25,200, and then the units are centimeters cubed. Okay, so there'll be a mark available usually for that. And that's it. Handy 10 marks if you know what to do. This is, I suppose, this is a regular shape. There are formulae for all of the regular shapes, especially the ones that are on the course, and they're usually in the maths tables. And then it's just a matter of finding the right formula, writing it down on the page. Now, I go to the extra step here of writing down what my inputs are. You don't really need that, although it's good to focus the mind. Maths is about organization and then learning off strategies to employ in different situations. Then throw it in to be multiplied and then do the multiplication. Now, part B is marked B and C together worth a whole 15 marks. And usually how this works is if you have one of the parts fully correct, you'll get the high partial. So that's 12 marks here. Now the students are going to use this wax to make candles in the shape of cylinders. Okay. Each cylinder will have a radius of 4 centimeters and a height of 9 centimeters. Okay. Work out the volume of each candle in terms of R and pi. So if we're not given R, we can't actually get a more applicable statement. But let's just follow through the logic. So this is a cylinder. Okay. So the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared, so the area of the circle on top, times the height. Okay. Now, the only input that I know here is that h is equal to 9. Like r is equal to r. I don't know what it is. So I can sub it back in if I want to, or just leave it the way it is. And pi is always, the number 3.14, and it's in the calculator. So all I really have to do there is substitute the h with 9, and I always substitute in brackets. Now that's the answer, but normally we'd resolve this brackets by removing it, and it's better expressed as 9, the number first, 9 times pi times r squared. So I'm not able to get a number for the volume, but I have a statement that's more specific to that cylinder. If I know what the radius is, I can just input it, evaluate it, and get the volume. Now it says in the next part, the student makes 100 candles from the block of wax. In making the candles, 10% of the wax in the block is wasted. So straight away, I know that, let's see, I do know the 100 candles. Okay, I know the block of wax here is the, 25200. Now, I'm going to say something here. If you were ever unsure what to do, write down some of the answers from the previous part and try use them. Multiply two things together. And sometimes that's enough to get marks. Like there's the hypothesis testing in Leaving Cert. If you write down the answer from a previous part, you get like the low partial. So that happens sometimes in Junior Cert. Now that's the full volume of the big block of wax. Now they're going to make into 100 smaller candles. Okay, each one will have an individually smaller volume, but all 100 added together is this. Now they're telling me that 10% is wasted, so 90% is used. So if I find out what 90% of this number is, that's the amount of wax that they have to make the 100 candles. Now I have it done down here, okay, so that's the 90%. Now you could have got 10% of 25,200 and taken that number away from 25,200. But it's the same thing as finding 90%. And it's worth testing that. It's worth getting a handle on how percentages work because they're like often misunderstood. People get the basic concept, but they don't have any real awareness of it. It's just for life a very useful skill to even know when somebody is trying to BS you in terms of numbers they're using, and they can try bamboozle you. So the 90%, the figure I got was this 22,680. Now that's making 100 candles. So how much volume is each individual candle? Well, how many hundreds are there in 22,680? Now the decimal place is here, so I can do it real quick without the calculator. I just have to move the decimal place twice to the left, okay? And I end up with 226.8, and that's the volume of one candle. Now, if you recall in the previous answer, okay, we got the volume of one cylindrical candle. So those two statements are equal. Mightn't be very obvious. This is the volume of one candle. This is the volume of one candle. Okay, if they're the same, why aren't these the same? And they are. And once you realize that, you can make the statement. Now, I'm trying now to rearrange. So I'm going to divide by 9 pi on the right because anything divided by itself will cancel out. If I do to one side, I have to do the same thing to the other. Now, I could evaluate that number, like that's just a number. But I don't want to yet because I don't want to have to deal with a decimal until the very end. Now, the final step there is once I've cancelled them out, I'm left with r squared is equal to that number. Now, to get rid of the square, I'm going to square root the r squared. If I do it one side, I have to do the same thing to the other. Now, once I do that, I end up at a number 2.8322 ... forever. And then I'm asked in the question to round to one decimal place. So it's the number prior to that that matters. 3 is less than 5, so the 8 stays the same. It's 2.8 centimeters, not centimeters cubed, because this is a length, not a volume. Now, let's end of question 3. Nice, short and sweet. So not too bad a question. That last part had a bit of algebra, but if you're consistent with your algebra and put a focus on it, you can maybe improve it to a point where those kind of questions, if you can make the logical leap at the beginning and make a good stab at the algebra, you're going to score pretty well. Okay. So as always, if you want to copy these notes, just send me an email at shanetroy@gmail.com and like and subscribe to get access to more playlists.